But the most challenging part of that entire process was dealing with the bank. And I literally, there were some nights I cried, and I was just like, all this hard work is just about to go down the drain. Typically, you would have to have closing costs, um, down payment. You're gonna have to have money for down payment, and money that you will put for your, it's called like EMS. I'm blanking. I don't know why I'm blanking right now. I am not, as you can tell, I'm not a real estate agent. Oh, your earnest money deposit. That's what it is. That's what it is. Yes, thank you. You will have to have money. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. Maybe it could be maybe 1,500, 2,000, $3,000. So it really depends on you and how much you want to put down. But that money, that you put down up front, as you're going through the contract, it lets the seller know that you're serious about it. Kind of locks you in and lets the seller know, that you're serious about purchasing this property. And then the typically the title company will hold your deposit, your earnest money deposit. And at the if you make it all the way through the end of the process, the money from the earnest money deposit should ultimately go toward you purchasing the home. But you're gonna need money, for down payment, and closing costs. That's what it is: down payment and closing costs. Child, nowadays you really need about 20,000, and it really just depends on the size of the home, the value of the home, and what your bank or credit union, what they're offering you. Some banks have small grants that they can offer to people who make under a certain amount of money. Maybe you're in a certain financial bracket and they have some grants for you. But chances are it's not going to be $20,000. The bank I worked with, a major bank, and they were promoting, this really big first time home buyer program that had about up to like 7,000 in closing costs and up to 10,000 in, down payment, or vice versa. It was one or the other, which is a lot. And honestly, that was my saving grace, and that's why I went through this program, because I was not eligible for, one of the DC programs, because at the time I was not a DC resident, and you have to be a DC. You have to. I don't care what anybody says. I got so many different answers. You have to be a DC resident to be eligible for that program. It's not DC. I'm thinking about a scholarship, so I'm thinking DC cap, but it's not DC cap. Is DC something. So I was able to get, support, grants for both closing costs and down payment. But that will show up on my taxes. I will have to count that on my taxes as income. So they're going to tax it, but that's beyond the point. I'm in my new home, and that's what matters, because it looked kind of gloom, like I might not be here. So if you can't, it's a lot of money. It's not easy. And I'm surprised that more people, I see, social media is truly a highlight reel, because you'll have people posting, we got the keys, we got the keys, we got the keys, we got the keys, right? Like everybody's like, oh, we got the keys, we got the keys. But it's like, you have to go through, and everybody has a different experience. I can't speak for other people. And honestly, it might have been a different situation if I were married. And when you're married, you can combine your finances and your assets. I was doing this by myself, straight out of graduate school, hustling to try to get a raise. Unfortunately, I founded my own nonprofit, and but I do have to answer. I answer to the board of directors, but I'm grateful that they're very supportive of me. And, I was able to just, get to the place where I could start pursuing purchasing a home. Um, so there are a lot of pieces that come into play. Like I said, you have to show that you have a strong, positive, healthy credit history, which means that you do not have a lot of debt, that you are paying your credit card bills and whatever else. If you got an automobile, that you paying those all of that. You paying your loans off on time, your car note on time. I fortunately, and I'm glad I don't actually. I'm glad I don't have a car, because that would have been another financial strain, and I already had enough. So for me, I'm grateful that I didn't have a car and I don't have a car, or car loan, because once I paid off my debt, honey, my debt to income ratio, I was good. I was good. I made it through that process. I kind of felt like I was a camel trying to get through the eye of a needle. Like that's maybe I shouldn't use that analogy. That's a biblical analogy, and it has to do with like rich people getting into heaven. So maybe I shouldn't use that analogy. But it was challenging. And it was challenging mentally more than anything. So I've already said some of the things, and I've said it multiple times, and I'll say it again. Healthy credit history. Make sure you're paying your payments on time. Check your credit history before, and if you go to a program like Mana, here in DC, we also have the Latino Economic Development Center, LEDC. They also do classes, first time home buying classes, and we have a number of nonprofits that you will also have to take a course. You typically, for your lender, whether it's a bank or a credit union, I imagine that they would require you to take some type of course on financial planning, and becoming a first time homeowner. And you should always maintain a strong savings account. You should have even a separate one for emergencies, because things happen. Heat, HVAC systems break down, water boilers break down. The thing in the sink needs to be replaced. The kitchen. I can't. But you get my point. I will not belabor the point. Make sure that your bank statements are clean, that is not no crazy business going on. I will say this: if you have large deposits, checks, money deposits, if you have large financial deposits, let's say, I don't know, it depends on the bank how picky they get, but they will ask you where this cut, because they ask me about everything. Oh, where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? Where'd this come from? And one downside of this process that I wish was not this way, which I think is one of the reasons why it's easy for particularly banks and lending institutions, lending companies to disenfranchise and to discriminate against first time home buyers, is you never get to meet the underwriter. I have a problem with that. I do. Because I didn't know who my underwriter was, and that was the person that made the final decision. But let me tell you this: I just felt something that was off in my spirit. I knew something was wrong. I knew someone was either questioning me, or trying to prevent me from breaking through this new ground and owning a home in Washington D.C., where I was born and raised. And I prayed on it, and I prayed on it, and I prayed on it, and I never found out who that person was. You never will. They're like, you know what they are? They are like, if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, and when Dorothy and the Scarecrow and the Lion and the Tin Man, when they made it to when they made it to the land of Oz, and they get there and they're looking for the wizard, uh and there's like this big booming voice and all this smoke and lights and everything. And then Toto pulls back the curtain and it's a man speaking in a big microphone thing. That is who that person is, except for you never get to see the person behind the curtain. And that, my friends, I think this is a personal opinion. I think it's a problem because it enables, if you have someone behind that curtain who maybe has preconceived notions, they could be racist, maybe not. You just don't know. They don't get to meet you and you don't get to meet them. You don't get to have face to face. You are greeted really with the bank's representative, whoever they put in front of you. And that person may not have that much authority in terms of how fast your process goes, whether or not the underwriter reviews your materials. And the underwriter can kind of just put your file aside and just pick it up when they feel like it, to be honest with you. But I was so just stressed by the process because we had passed some of the deadlines that were in the contract, and that's bad business. And so I ended up writing a letter to the executive, the CEO, child, the CEO, and everybody, the top personnel in the bank. And when I tell you it was a 180, everything turned around. I got a new person that I was now that was higher up, that I was now reporting to locally, and they turned it around and I was able to get the home. I'm telling you, the sellers, they were so patient, and to this very day I have not met them. I know their names, I have not met them, but I thank God for them. I thank God for them and their patience through the process. They really wanted me to have this home, and I'm so grateful for them. And I'm grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my agent. I'm grateful for the seller's agent. She was amazing. Such a sweet lady. She blessed me with a she blessed me with a 1-year warranty on my home, on my appliances. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up because trust God through your, I don't know what to say if you're not religious or if you're not spiritual. I don't know what to tell you. But it was my faith. It was my faith that got me through this process. And I've been here now, and doors are opening financially, so I'm able to pay my mortgage, my HOA fees, um, my utilities. So I've spoken for long enough. I don't even know if most people gonna get through this video, but maybe I'll do it in bits and pieces. Maybe series 1, series 2. That's what I might do, because ain't nobody watching no 30-minute video nowadays. Maybe a few, but yeah, just keep the faith and do not give up. Seek resources. I'm a big advocate of resources and resource alignment. Just ask around, ask people who've been there before, who've done it before. Yeah, just ask around, ask for references for title companies, ask for references for insurance. Not insurance, well, insurance too, but references for inspection companies. And my agent referred me to a wonderful inspection company, and I was so satisfied with the inspector that came that I hired him again a second time. I called him, I said, I want so and so, don't give me anybody else, that's who I want. Let me get on his schedule. And he was just absolutely phenomenal, very thorough, very personable. It was an interesting I know, up to this point in my life, and I'm sure other things will come that are more challenging, but this was by far, it was harder than the college admission process. It was harder than studying and going through for the SAT. It was harder. It was just the hardest process that I've ever gone through. But I'm grateful that I went through it. I'm grateful that I was able to do it in my 20s. There's no stopping it now. And if you can, once you get your home, if you can, and of course you can refinance, if you want to try to use another lender and get a lower interest rate. I have a fixed, hallelujah, a fixed mortgage loan interest rate. But yeah, I would suggest to, if you can, when you pay your mortgage throughout, like every month, if you can put money towards your principal, your principal, that will lower what you have to pay additional in interest over time. So the concept of interest, and you probably hear interest a lot, and it's like, okay, what is interest? So if you borrow money from a friend, let's just say you borrow $50, and they say, okay, I'm gonna give you this $50, but you're gonna owe me 50 plus $20. So you're gonna, when you return this to me, you owe me $70. And that is how, that's how lenders make money, make profit. Is they lend money, which is really not theirs in the first place. But anyway, anyway, they're basically just trading using other people's money. At least that's the way I see it. Um, so somebody might take my video down. Yeah, so that's what it is. Like, okay, we'll give you $350,000, but by the time you're done paying it, if you don't start paying on your principal and you just pay the minimum payment, kind of just like it's just like a credit card. If you just pay 35, if you have a $3,000 limit and you've run that up, and they're saying, oh, your minimum payment is only $35 a month. Do not only pay that $35, because let me tell you, you're gonna end up paying $5,000 on $3,000 that you borrowed. I'm telling you what I know, because I've seen it. Because what they do is, so when you pay that $35, all the $35 does not go directly to your principal, meaning it doesn't go directly to the loan. It doesn't, all of that money does not go towards the loan that you were given, like as if you're paying it back. So some of a percentage of the money you pay back. So out of $35, they may take 15 or 20, well, maybe not that much, but anyway, they may take $10 or $15, and they keep that. They keep that. So you really only paid, if you paid $35 and they take 10, you only paid $25. But your balance is steadily like climbing up. I've seen it with my own eyes. Trust and believe. So if you can start paying down on your principal, you can cut down the amount of time that it takes to pay your mortgage. I do not plan to pay off. I do not plan to spend 30 years paying off my first mortgage. Absolutely not. That is not what we're doing. We're going to work smarter, not harder. So anyway, yes. I hope to bring you more videos about my own experiences in life, in finances, in building and creating and building and sustaining and growing generational wealth. And I hope you will take this journey with me. I hope you learned something today. Of course, my perspective is subjective. It's coming from my point of view. But there may be some things that ring true, or maybe some things that you didn't know about that you can look out for. And I wish you the best on your journey as you embark upon becoming a first-time home buyer or buying another property. Maybe you may end up getting to purchasing more properties or flipping homes. There's a gentleman that I follow on social media that purchases homes, and he purchases homes. He negotiates the price, like rundown places. He fixes them up himself. I'm sure he has partnerships with developers and um, interior designers. I'm sure he partners with those people and pays them a certain amount, and they completely renovate the space, and he makes them affordable housing for families that need affordable housing. And that is an amazing initiative, and more people need to be doing that, because gentrification really makes it difficult for people who grew up in a particular place um, to purchase. And once people who live there for a long time, you sell that home, you ain't coming back to the city. You ain't coming back. Chances are. Chances are. So, all right. Peace and blessings.